The night in the Lost Valley was unnaturally silent, as if the mountains themselves were holding their breath. A cold mist crawled along the jagged rocks, and every gust of wind carried the faint scent of wet soil and something far older, something wild. It had been 12 days since we entered the valley, and each day the forest felt more alive, more watchful, as if unseen eyes were following us step by step. We had come searching for answers, for the truth behind the disappearances, the sightings, the stories the locals whispered at night. Stories of a towering figure, the legendary Bigfoot. But what we found tonight was far beyond myths. Our team had barely settled into camp when the first tremor shook the ground. It wasn't strong enough to knock anything over, but it was powerful enough to freeze every one of us in place. The trees tilted slightly, a few pebbles rolled down the slope, and then, nothing. Just silence. A silence so heavy it felt like a warning. Ferris, our team leader, grabbed his flashlight and motioned for us to follow. His face was tense, tightened by the fear he refused to show. We moved slowly across the valley floor, our boots sinking into damp moss. Every step echoed louder than it should have. Something wasn't right. Animals were supposed to be awake at this hour, night birds, insects, wolves. But there was nothing. As we approached the treeline, a deep growl rumbled through the forest. It vibrated through the ground, climbed up our legs, and settled in our chests like a trapped heartbeat. The sound didn't belong to any known creature. It was too deep, too powerful, too ancient. Then, without warning, the growl was followed by a deafening roar. A roar so intense that birds exploded from the treetops and vanished into the dark sky. We raised our lights, hands trembling, and aimed them ahead. Something massive moved between the trees. At first, it was only a silhouette, an enormous shadow gliding silently from trunk to trunk. But the more it moved, the more details we could make out. Long arms, thick as tree branches. Broad shoulders, wider than any human could ever have. Hair covering every inch of its body. And eyes, two glowing amber eyes that reflected our lights like burning coals. There was no doubt. It was Bigfoot. But something was wrong. This wasn't the peaceful forest guardian described in legends. This creature looked enraged, feral, its breath sharp and heavy, as if it had been chased or wounded. Ferris raised his hand to keep us steady, but before he could whisper a command, the creature stepped forward, revealing its full height. 3 meters. Maybe more. We all stumbled back. Bigfoot lowered its head, staring at us with an expression we couldn't quite understand. Was it warning us? Challenging us? Asking for help? Nobody knew. Then came the second roar, this time from behind. The ground quaked again. We froze. There was something else in the valley. And it was coming straight toward us. Branches snapped like matchsticks. A huge shadow leapt into the clearing, landing only a few feet from Bigfoot. At first glance, it looked almost human, tall, muscular, broad, but its skin was grayish, stretched unnaturally tight over its skull. Its eyes were cold, pale, and empty. It wasn't Bigfoot. It wasn't human. It was something between man and monster. A creation. A mutation. A creature born from experiments whispered about for decades, a man transformed into something else entirely. Half human, half nightmare. We stood motionless while the two giants faced each other. The valley air grew thick, humming with tension. Bigfoot's chest rose and fell in anger, while the man-monster, whatever it was, simply stared, unblinking. Then it lunged. The impact was like thunder. Two titans clashed, shaking the ground beneath us. Bigfoot pushed the creature back with immense strength, but the man-monster responded with terrifying speed. They tore through the clearing, smashing into trees and ripping the earth apart. Bark flew, stones shattered, and roars echoed across the mountains. We ducked behind fallen logs, watching helplessly. This wasn't just a fight, it was a war. A war between nature's ancient guardian and humanity's darkest mistake. Ferris yelled for us to move. We have to get to the old ruins. Now, RAIF, our tech expert, had discovered something earlier that now felt crucial. Deep inside the valley lay an ancient stone chamber carved by a civilization that had vanished centuries ago. According to RAIF, the chamber held a mechanism that once acted as a boundary, preventing certain beings from crossing into human lands. Some believed that mechanism was created to contain creatures like Bigfoot. Others believed it was created to protect them. As we sprinted through the woods, the sounds of battle followed us, tree trunks cracking, snarls and roars blending into a terrifying chorus. Every time we looked back, we saw glimpses of the two giants struggling. Bigfoot's massive arms swung, sending the man-monster crashing into a boulder. But the creature rose again, faster and more violent than before. This fight had no end unless we did something. We reached the ruins just as another shockwave rolled through the valley. Ancient pillars stood in a circular formation, covered in moss and cracks but still powerful in their presence. In the center lay a stone panel engraved with spirals and ancient markings. "This is it," RAIF said, panting. "The energy seal. If we activate it, the valley will shift, the creatures should return to their original state, or be forced into sleep. But activating it required a sequence. A precise pattern. And we had only minutes. While RAIF worked, we kept watch. The roars were getting louder. Then Bigfoot stumbled into view. Its chest was slashed, blood dripping onto the ground. It looked exhausted, but still determined. Behind it emerged the man-monster, its pale skin stained with dirt and blood. It moved like a predator, its strength terrifying. But then something unexpected happened. Bigfoot didn't run. It didn't attack. It looked at us. Even through the pain, there was intelligence, understanding, in its eyes. As if it knew that what RAIF was doing was the valley's last hope. The man-monster charged, but Bigfoot intercepted it, tackling the creature with all the strength it had left. Their bodies rolled across the ground, crushing everything in their path. RAIF yelled, "Almost there. Just a few more seconds." The stone pillars began to glow, faint at first, then brighter. Lines of ancient energy crawled across the ground like golden roots. The entire ruins chamber lit up. Suddenly, a giant shadow loomed over us. The man-monster had broken free. It sprinted toward the stone panel, trying to destroy it. If it succeeded, the valley and possibly the world outside would fall under chaos. But before it reached us, Bigfoot roared, a roar filled with fury and sacrifice. It slammed into the man-monster with all its remaining strength, stopping it just inches from the stone panel. The clash sent both creatures tumbling into the center of the circle. The ground trembled violently. RAIF shouted, "It's activating. Get back." We ran behind the pillars as blinding light shot upward, engulfing both creatures. Their silhouettes twisted within the glow, Bigfoot's massive frame bending, the man-monster's limbs contorting. The light intensified until we could no longer see their forms. The air exploded in a shockwave that knocked us off our feet. Then silence. When the light faded, both creatures were gone. No bodies. No movement. Just a faint, golden shimmer that slowly dissolved into the night breeze. The valley felt different, lighter, calmer, as if a burden had finally been lifted. The ancient power had done its work. But none of us could forget Bigfoot's final act. It wasn't the monster people believed it to be. It was a guardian, a protector, a being that chose to sacrifice itself to stop the darkness that humans had created. We stood there for a long time, staring at the empty clearing where two titans had fought. The mist slowly rolled back in, the forest sounds returned one by one, and the valley breathed again. But deep inside, we knew something. This wasn't the end. The valley had awakened. And whatever force had created both guardian and monster was still watching.